about raising concerns, but actively influencing decisions to ensure that community voices are heard and rights are protected, among others. The training highlighted the importance of capacity building, establishing formal structures at both national and regional levels, and creating a common communication channel for female councillors to coordinate and share ideas. Other speakers at the meeting further emphasized that empowering women in local governance will help drive community development and enhance policy implementation, among others. During discussions, councillors reflected on key strategies to strengthen collaboration and policy influence, emphasizing the importance of unity among female representatives in driving community development and gender equality. Events ended with the formation of executive at national level for Treasurer, Financial Secretary, Public Relations Officer 1 and 2, Deputy Chairperson and Chairperson positions respectively. Kumba Yandemo from Connaught District was elected as the Chairperson of the Female Council Network at national level. She appreciated other female councillors for electing her and pledged her commitment to build a formidable leadership base across Sierra Leone.
In a bid to prevent drugs in school, the Global Foundation Network has trained as school monitors many students from various universities. The move was as a result of a nationwide survey which indicates that over 4,000 children are affected by drugs. According to the survey, some of the pupils are not only taking drugs, but they are also selling them to their peers in schools. Our reporter Muhammad Kouma tells us more.
The training, which was organized by Global Foundation Network, targeted 70 university students across the country. It came as a result of a recent survey done by the body which exposed the alarming rate of substance abuse in schools and colleges. The situation has become so devastating that kush, tramadol and other dangerous drugs have saturated academic institutions, making them unsafe for young people to thrive. The engagement was meant to empower students with the necessary skills to fight against drug abuse. The Executive Director of Global Foundation Network, Dr. Samuel Henry Coker, spoke more on the reasons for such gathering.
It was a concern for us because looking at that result, when you check the rates, over 4,025 children in school are drug victims, and we also realize that within that number, we have about 45% of that number, they are females, and we have the rest are male, and they are all into drugs. And the age fall within the age of 7 years to 18 years old. So it's a concern for us, forgetting about what is happening on the streets. But if it's the drugs is coming into the school, it's a whole big thing. It's something different we need to think about.
The coordinator of Global Foundation Network in Liberia and Rousseau did a comparative analysis between Sierra Leone and Liberia on the fight against drug abuse.
Okay, the intelligence is working. The people themselves, the communities themselves, as Doctor was saying, the communities themselves, they come together and they are collaborating, they are cooperating and coordinating with the DEA to mitigate this drug issue, because the children are dying. The DEA is so empowered. Because I'm so back up when I look at the NDA out there in Sierra Leone, and they don't even have a bicycle. You go to their building, it's so dilapidated, they move around, they're not even up to 50 employees.
While doing his presentation, the Director of Prevention, Education and Training, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Ibrahim Samuel Duba, said that in spite of the challenges of their agency, they had prosecuted about 497 cases. He called on government to support them. The students admitted that they had learned a lot, adding that drug abuse had affected them either directly or indirectly. They pledged to utilize the knowledge gained.
Of course, I've learned a lot personally, and one from the CEO himself of Global Foundation Network. He gave us a good presentation of which we know the substances that are already in the drugs that are affecting us.
I've also learned that From the survey that they did, we have about 4,025 people that have been affected by this kush. And they also did a survey in schools, which involved, it was 544 schools.
A representative of Ministry of Social Welfare, Maria Makuruma, called on all relevant stakeholders to work collectively to put an end to substance abuse. The rate at which illicit drugs are destroying the lives of young people calls for prompt and effective actions to address the unfortunate situation. For SLBC, Mohamed Kouma reporting.
This is News Hour coming to you live from the Salient Broadcasting Corporation from Freetown. We continue with more stories. Kush continues to devastate communities across Sierra Leone. The dangerous drug is devastating the dreams of many young people in the country. At the Old Wharf community in the east of Freetown, 2 young men are fighting for survival after years of consuming the drug kush. Our intern, Memona Tukonte, visited Old Wharf and compiled this report, which was read in the studios by Aminata Fofana. But to quickly note, viewers' discretion is advised.
This is Old Wharf community in the east of the capital, Freetown. Here, the impact of the kush drug is slowly destroying the dreams of many young people. For Abbas Kamara and Mohamed Bangura, they are now in deep regrets following their constant intake of the harmful substance. Abbas once had the dream of becoming a medical doctor. However, due to peer pressure, he involved in such practice that makes his dream of becoming a medical doctor questionable. The sore on his ankle is insightful to behold, and even if it gets healed, the scar may remain a negative memory to him. He shares his regrets.
I'm the Aten Salam Islamic Secondary School.
I was once a student with a dream of becoming a medical doctor, but I dropped out of school because my mother couldn't afford my school fees. After that, I started selling fuel to survive until one day a friend introduced me to kush. Since then, I haven't been myself again. I want to advise all young people out there to stay away from kush. It's dangerous.
Similarly, Mohamed Bangura, who was once a hard-working driver, said he lost everything, including his job and family, to kush. Emotionally, he recalls this and pleads for help.
I was once taking care of my mother, but taking kush has made me unable to do so. This drug has discouraged many of us. Some have stopped taking care of themselves, and others have even taken their own lives. We are pleading for help.
The heartbreaking stories of these young men serve as a reminder of how drug abuse continues to destroy potential future leaders. To combat this threat, campaigners hold the view that all hands should be on deck in the fight against it.
The National Disaster Management Agency, with the World Bank under the Sierra Digital Transformation Project, has held a stakeholder session on strengthening multi-asset early warning systems. The engagement was intended to discuss ways of improving Sierra's disaster preparedness and response through digital transformation. Jonathan Turner was at the Sierra Palms Hotel in Aberdeen, Freetown, and now reports. The ongoing consulting assignment supported by World Bank aims to improve the technical foundation and operational efficiency of Sierra's early warning systems. Key objectives included assessing digital infrastructure needs such as internet connectivity, servers and data sharing software, analyzing information flow and data management. The gathering also looked
at evaluating the interoperations of systems across institutions to ensure seamless communication and response during emergencies. Officials of the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA, said the initiative seeks to enhance the country's capacity to prevent and mitigate disaster impacts by building a strong and interconnected early warning systems.
That if it's raining and the water level got to a particular, color, you should be preparing to leave. If it gets to green, for example, you should not be there. Then you get to the red, for example, nobody should be there. So that will minimize the impact of whatever flooding that will happen. So that is going to be an ongoing training of the local people. So the focus is to ensure that, one, we enhance the capacity of the institution that is generating the early warning, and two, create a system that will be able to effectively disseminate that system based on those that are in danger. Because the other component of what we are doing also is that we don't want to be disturbing. For example, let's say if we conclude to use SMS, messages or other forms of reaching out to affected people.
The assessment focused on legal mandates, operational systems, technical tools, and previous initiatives, leading to the identification of structural, technical, and institutional gaps.
Operating procedures, who is going to do what in a particular situation? If we are talking about a flash flood or happening at midnight, who is responsible for doing what? So all these actually fit into the system. Then comes, this is the part where we have all the information coordination mechanism is done. Then comes disseminating it to the user. Even the system itself can have what we call the common alert protocol. So through that, we can directly send messages to your social media, to your mobile applications, to your radio, community radios, to your television sets, everything. So one platform disseminates everything to the users, all the users registered.
The National Disaster Management Agency underscored that once fully operational, the enhanced multi-hazard early warning systems will significantly improve the nation's ability to anticipate, prepare for, and respond to disasters, protecting lives, property, and national development gains. For SLBC News, Jonathan Turner reporting.
Parts of a three-story building occupied by persons living with a disability collapsed in the early hours of Saturday, October 17th at Aqua Estate in Freetown. The incident, which left the structure in a risky condition, has rendered some residents homeless. Although no lives were lost, property, including wheelchairs and other essential items, were destroyed under the rubble. Suleiman Dumboya filed this report and was read by Jonathan Turner.
This is what the three-story building looks like now, following the collapse of some parts of the second and third floor. Most of its occupants are persons living with disability. They said the unfortunate incident happened when they were asleep. Some were trapped inside, but efforts were made by boys in the area to pull them out.
It's still for sale in Mutusui, right? This last night, the dog sleep.
The building did not notice us. We were sleeping when we heard the sound. So, as a leader, I woke up and went straight to the veranda. I saw some part of the building down, blocking the entrance. Those with clothes could not leave the building at that time, but some of us managed to force our way out of the building. Some of our boys had to break part of the building for the others to leave the house.
They use caliper, clutch. They're not able to come out on that time. We were not use clutch.
Bailoba, one of the disabled occupants, expressed frustration over the loss of property and appeals for immediate support from authorities.
Since this morning, we have not had anything to eat. We are outside here suffering with our children. We do not have any place to lay our heads. All of our properties have been destroyed. We are calling on the government to help us with shelter and food.
Government can't see where the host don't broke, that they able help me first. side for sleep, put side something for eat.
Deputy Director Regional Affairs for the National Disaster Management Agency, Gerald King, said the building has been declared unsafe for inhabitation.
By persons living with disability. Of course, what we've gathered, this building, they've occupied this building for a very long years, for more than 2 decades, they've occupied this building. So now the building is in a very bad condition, and what we are advising now is for them to be evacuated. So we are discussing now with Futon City Council and with all other players, Ministry of Social Welfare, to see how best they can provide. We can provide a safe space for them for the time being, and we can also engage for the long term in terms of their accommodation. So that is what we are doing now as an agency. We are providing that leadership role now to make sure that we coordinate all the partners to be involved into this.
For now, the displaced occupants of the ECOWAS Street building remain uncertain when help will come. It is also not clear as of now who owns the house. It's a call for relevant authorities to be doing integrity check on some of the oldest structures in the capital and other places to prevent disaster.
From Suleiman Dumbe, it's now time for Go In for our entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to exciting entertainment news with me, Abdul Mansari. In this edition of Entertainment News, Dr. Julius Spencer, a key player in the entertainment industry, celebrates his 70th birthday. And of course, we have Lilian Mata Syriac, crowned as Miss Teen Universe 2025. He is Dr. Julius Spencer, the chairman for the Balanta Academy of Music and Performing Arts, has celebrated his Platinum Natal Day. He is a figure who has the passion to groom young artists in music. 70 years and still continue is a time of reflection on his achievements in music and other spheres of his life in the last 7 decades.
Terrible times, but that experience in Nigeria largely made me what I am today. When I was growing up, my mother used to say to me, "You people will take advantage of you. You are too quiet." Today, I can stand before you without a prepared statement and can talk. Why? Because of the training I have received in theater.
Family members and friends, especially the older ones, share their experiences with Dr. Spencer. Both the young and the old celebrated his persons. Happy birthday, Dr. Julius Spencer, and we wish you many more birthdays. And finally, a moment of pride of the entire Sierra Leone as a 15-year-old Lilian Martha Syriac, aka Queen, has won the 7th edition of the Miss Teen Universe Sierra Leone 2025 as the grand finale in India. As a young Sierra Leonean pageant, she stood tall with her fluent English and carried the Sierra Leonean spirit. The nation and Africa celebrates you, Lilian, as you have challenged every young woman who dares to make their dreams a reality.
My long-term goal has been to ensure that the law is not just written on paper, but being put into practice. Which brings me to my aspiration. I aspire to be an international criminal lawyer, as I'm someone who can't stand the sight of injustice, and fighting for what's right makes me feel fulfilled.
And thanks so much, Lilian, for raising the green, white and blue flag higher. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Entertainment News, and I've been your presenter, Abdul Mansari. Bye-bye.
Thanks to Abdul Mansari for the entertainment news. We now move on to sports updates.
Thank you very much. In this edition of the update, the Sierra Leone security sector has wrapped up a thrilling two-day football tournament designed to strengthen unity and collaboration among the various branches. Well, let's join Abdul Masari for more details.
The tournament kicked off with an exciting match between Arslav and the Fire Force. Arslav demonstrated their dominance on the field, securing a convincing victory of 3-0. Captain Edward Kaba was the star of the match, netting the first 2 goals and setting the tone for the team's performance. Abubakar Kamara added the final goal, sealing the win and propelling Arslav into the next round. In another competitive feature, the SLP faced off against the Sierra Leone Correctional Center. The match was intense, but the police team managed to clinch victory with a single goal that proved decisive. This win ensured that both Arslav and SLP would advance to the finals, creating an atmosphere of anticipation for the concluding match. The final showdown between SLP and Arslav was nothing short of electrifying. Both teams showcased their skills and determination, but it was Lansana Toure, captain of the SLP, who made the difference with a well-placed goal that secured a 1-0 victory for his side. The match was fiercely contested, with both teams displaying exceptional sportsmanship and teamwork. As the final whistle blew, jubilant celebrations erupted among the SLP players and their supporters. The atmosphere was filled with joy as they lifted the golden trophy in triumph. In recognition of their efforts, each player from the winning team received golden medals, while Arslav was awarded a silver trophy for their commendable performance throughout the tournament.
You know, now forces gala competition. We want for remove that kind of thing people can get. Say, the police and the soldier, or the soldier and the correctional service, or the correctional service and the national fire force, they know they see eye to eye. No, we all see eye to eye, and so we need to let the public know. So we all see eye to eye. We look at the primary responsibility, whether it's the military, the police, or the fire force, or the correctional. We all are for the safety and security of the state. But how they do and then shape we do to them. Una de pandis, the one de panade, that de panade, so then shape sheba. But we now want to let the public know, say we all live together when it comes to protecting the people of this country.
The event not only highlighted the sporting prowess of Sierra Leone's security personnel, but also reinforced the importance of unity and collaboration within the sector. It served as a reminder that beyond their daily duties, these teams can come together to celebrate their shared goals and achievements through sports. SLBC News, Abdul Mansari reporting.
Finally, Morocco succeeded over Argentina to play their first FIFA Under-20 World Cup with Yassin, scoring twice in a thrilling final in Santiago, the capital of Chile. Here is the highlight of the match.
Record 6-time world champions at this level, Argentina face Morocco, who are featuring in their first final. It's going to be Sabiri! Lift off for Morocco! Well, it was so well hit, it might as well just have been a penalty. Otman Mama stands it up brilliantly, 2-0. Oh, what an evening this could be for Morocco, as Sabiri doubles Morocco's lead. Can cross there, and the header straight at Gomes. Ramirez. And there it is. What a story. It's Morocco's cup. It's Africa's cup.
Well, that's all we can take in this edition of the updates. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Mohamed Lamin Tui, and goodbye.
From Mohamed Lamin Tui with sports updates. So, the contents of the news this morning. But before we go, a quick recap of our main point. A devastating fire incident that occurred in the late hours of Sunday, 19th October at Calabar Town in the east of Freetown has completely reduced 2 buildings to ashes and left 2 people severely injured. Both of them got burnt and were rushed to the Connaught Hospital. While the introduction of garbage trucks of FCC, garbage collectors have claimed that they have not been provided with aprons to do their work, but the FCC has refuted such allegations. And as Parliament wrapped up debate on President Bio's state opening address, MPs on the ruling bench said the current administration has done exceedingly well, but the opposition lawmakers debunked them, stating that the development were not reflecting on the lives of the ordinary man. Well, that's another news from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I have been your presenter, Esther Sacco. Stay tuned to your public broadcast and the SLBC. If you can, up next is Good Morning Sierra Leone. Stay with us.
For send money overseas, where you use Afri Money and BNB. Dial *161#. Select option 1 for send money. You go see overseas money, na option 6. Press 1 for BNB. After that, you go see over 10 countries then na the list. Select the country where you want. Enter the person in full name. Put the person in phone number. Not forget for include the country code. Enter the amount where you want for send. Put your PIN or password for confirm your payment. We go send you message for sure say the money don't reach the person. Terms and conditions applied.
A place cannot produce poems. It can only not prevent them. And Freetown is good at that. For Freetown has its own sudden elegances. People are slow to leave it, quick to return. And there are others who come for a year or two and stay for a lifetime, sensing that they found a city that is in the world, yet sufficiently on the edge of it to have a different resonance. Let me tell you something about this city. All of us, we're all just passing through, and we've all been here forever. Those who came, those who stayed, those who never returned. Tides turn, seasons change, we've waited and we've watched. But we've always been here. We've always listened, because there is a different resonance here. It comes from the river, and the land, and the sky.
It's our place, all of us.
This city belongs to everyone.
And you know when it's your time.
And it's our time.
Listen, we are Freetown.
We are Freetown!
The golden rules of Freetown.
Don't pretend you're something that you're not.
Don't go thinking you're better than anyone else.
Or that anyone else is better than you.
Don't shout about it. Get on with it.
We are Freetown!
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 Yeah!
We found our voice again.
I'm from India and Freetown.
I'm from China and Freetown.
I'm from the UK and Freetown.
I am from Nigeria and Freetown.
I am from home and Freetown.
This city belongs to everyone.
The fishermen,
the taxi driver,
the barber,
the drummers, the dancers.
All of us.
All of us. Everybody. We are Freetown.
The past is ours. The future is ours. It's our time again.
And this city belongs to everyone.
The playwright, the greengrocer,
the teacher,
the dog.
This space is ours.
This light is ours.
The beaches are ours.
The rivers now we own.
The roads are ours.
The bridges now we own.
We are Freetown.
We are all visitors and we've all been here forever.
We've got the mightiest river.
And the biggest sky.
And there's a resonance again.
Freetown. Freetown.
We are proud of this place.
We love this city.
And we want you to love it too. We are proud of this place.
Na pass we all dey pass like stranger dem, but we all don't dare from them. Come here and you'll feel it.
Today is Tuesday, the 21st of October 2025. A pleasant good morning to you and a warm welcome to your breakfast show. Good morning, Celia. The program that starts your day with analysis on different happenings and current events in the country. I am presenters. I am Esther Saku.
And I am Emmanuel Samuel. Our quote of the day is from American leader Martin Luther King Jr. And it says, The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Intelligence plus character, it is the goal of true education.
That's a food for thought. Well, coming up in this edition of the program, the 2025 Worst results are out, with overall performance in the English language showing a significant decline.
Is the abuse and sale of the kush drug going to be an everlasting menace in Sierra Leone? Well, we find out as we discuss with experts on mental health and human rights.
And goals Sierra Leone to speak on its system-based approach to development by integrating health, water, sanitation and hygiene, blue economy and livelihood sectors. On this note, we invite you to participate in the program by sending your text message to the number displayed on your screen or send your comments on our Facebook page slbc.sl. The program you're watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation status.
Good Morning Sierra Leone live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. We start the discussion proper to our second headline story. Since 2022, a synthetic drug known as kush has killed likely thousands of people in West Africa. Kush emerged in Sierra Leone but quickly spread across countries in the sub-region, including Liberia, Guinea, the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau and Senegal, with devastating effects. By April 2024, the health impact of kush, a synthetic drug containing nitazene, opioids, and more powerful than fentanyl, as well as synthetic cannabinoids, were so acute that the president of Sierra Leone and Liberia declared national emergencies over drug use, an unprecedented step. Well, this drug represents a turning point in West Africa's drug landscape. The scale of its market expansion and its literal public health effects are unparalleled. Yet, amidst widespread speculation about kush, a number of critical questions remain unanswered about the drug. What is kush? Where does it come from? Who is producing and trafficking it? And what can be done to reduce the harm posed by this drug? Well, in the studio, we have been joined by Kenneth Jesse Coker, co-chair, Event Committee, Mental Health Coalition, and also Alfonso B. Ngbani, the Executive Secretary Human Rights Defenders. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to Good Morning Sierra Leone.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, I will start with Mr. Coker. Mr. Coker, the question people might want to know, because you are the co-chair of this Mental Health Coalition, you must have done some research when you talk about the kush itself. From your own perspective as a coalition, what do you think is kush?
Good morning. It's a very important question that you ask. Well, I will start with the definition, so that people will know exactly what is this kush all about. One, the kush crisis refers to the rising issues related to the use of kush as a trade. It's a form of substance that is becoming increasingly prevalent in Sierra Leone. This substance is a killer factor for our youth in this nation, and it's very alarming. So now, because when you go out there, you will see a lot of potential. I call them that the powerhouse for this nation, youth, young people, involving into these drugs, and it has the tendency to, destroy their futures, destroy their generations, and all of that. So from real perspective for the Mental Health Coalition, it's a red flag because it's serious, and it affects every facet of the society. and now you see a lot of school-going pupils taking these drugs and all of that, and it's not good for our nation. And I can say that our nation needs to be mourned for this particular related drugs that is killing our youth in this in our country as a whole.
So what has been your interventions as a coalition with regards to the Kush drug? Because you heard from our interview, the Kush has been in the country since 2022.
Yes, we have implemented several implementation. I will start with this month, October 10, wherein WHO declared October 10 as World Mental Health Day. But we from the coalition, we take the whole month of October from the 1st to the 31st as declare it as a World Mental Health Month, wherein we go to communities, to talk about the danger of this kush, Our approach has been different. We're talking to youth, families, then we also have the community engagement throughout the nation, not only in Sierra Leone. So not only in Freetown, because most people, when you talk about Freetown, they think that, Freetown is Sierra Leone. No, Freetown is part of Sierra Leone. So across the nation, we have different groups going to different schools, institutions, to engage with the youth, tell them the danger of these drugs and how it destroy, their potential as a young people.
So Mr. Coker, my colleague asked you that question, as a build-up to ask you, as a coalition, have you done any research to know where is the kush coming from, or where are they producing this type of drug?
Basically, from what we get from the addicts, the users, them, of course, it's a synthetic drugs. Some say that it came from other country. Some say that they locally manufacture it here. But to we, where it's coming from is not a priority to we. What we are trying to advocate for is for government to put a very strong policies, for the one that is coming with it, manufacturing it, so that people will know that this is a danger something, then people won't go into it as a trade, or for even the users to buy it, and destroy their lives gradually.
So as a coalition, don't you think, because you made mention that the government should put policies in place, but we spoke to a guy that did a research on what actually kush is, all the items that they say they used to produce the kush, the dead bones and all. They said nothing of such nature was found in the kush based on the research that they did. They went with the sample to the Netherlands. So as a coalition, what has been your level of collaboration? Because how about you putting these policies in place? Because according to Sierra Leone, we have some of these very beautiful policies, but the reality on the ground are quite different. What has been your level of collaboration as a coalition in the fight against kush? Because we can't be using the carrot approach all the time. We need to use the stick approach as well.
Well, basically, we are advocating with the government for put a stiff rules, stiff laws, and not only putting the laws, but also to enforce the laws, because that is very key. Then also, government need to be sincere when it comes in terms of this kush, affecting the lives of the youth in this country. To be sincere, I mean that they need to be very honest in them fighting this, particular drug issue. It need not to be politicized, you see, because to me, personally, I see that the government's effort is not sincere. Since last year, April 24, they declared it as an emergency. But if you go to the Drug Enforcement Agency, Jayakaka is crying that there is no money. And of course, the president went to the United Nations and said that the drugs, the drug sellers has a lot of money into this entire thing. So if you set up an organization, to enforce drugs, there is no money. What do you think will happen? Definitely their efforts will be limited. You understand? Because the drug lords have a lot of money to put into this thing. Then consider the two political parties. They are not sincere. You go to the APC headquarters, you will see young people, youth there, smoking these substances. You go to SLBC headquarters, you see around that community, youth smoking these substances, which is not good for their health, which is not good for us as a nation. So both of them need to come up with a very strong policies to enforce those things, Because if the one that taking this thing say that, oh, the government is not serious about it, in fact the very government encourage them to do it at their own party office, what do you think will happen?
So let me bring in Mr. Gbani. Mr. Gbani, when you look at the way the Kush is dealing with young people, there is no doubt about it, there is so much human rights violations that is attached to it. So from the human rights defenders perspective, how do you view the fights and all of this rancor or talks about the Kush itself?
Thank you very much for having me. From the human rights perspective, well, I just want to lay a basis that we have to look at what is the root cause or the problem associated with the Kush, and how do we fight Kush and the impact of Kush. And I will say in Sierra Leone, the problem associated with Kush is political, it's economical, and it's social. It's political in the sense, political parties, and in this context, with all fairness, I will focus my attention to the two major parties, the SLBC and the APC. These major political parties have been using drugs to hyper the behavior of youths, either in terms of campaign, in political party rallies, or in any other behavior. So you realize that the problem of drugs, and particularly Kush, is as a result of the use of those substances by political parties, SLBC, APC. The other thing is that they are also using it to cover up or to protect their own people. If somebody is using or if somebody is selling drugs like the Kush, the political parties protect them. So that's why I said one of the problems for Kush is on the political angle. On the economic side, we all know that the economic situation in the country is so deteriorating, and therefore a number of Sierra Leoneans are using whatever means they have in their quest because they are desperate to get money. And not only Sierra Leone, even those that are in governance, to also get money. And so, if this opportunity arises to make quick money at the expense of the lives and the health of citizens, they can do whatever it takes to get money to counter the economic deterioration. And so that's why I said it's also economical. It is social in various situations. And that's where we look at the issue of culture and the management of depression and stress. And now we look at the issue of management of depression and stress from this angle. You have some youths that spend 4 years, 5 years, 7 years to graduate, to get their degree from university. It will take those youth 10, 15 years or 20 years to get a job. The 15 years or 20 years they take to get a job, that's frustration. Some could not manage the frustration. The best they can do is to get something else. And it is during that period, these politicians are using those youths that don't have job and are so desperate, and they give them this substance. And so they make use of it and become thugs or 5-0s for political parties. So the political parties make advantage of that space that these youths are so desperate to get job, and they don't have it. They need something to cool them or at least to make them hyper. And the other thing is that among these youth, these young boys, they also have colleagues. We have graduated, I know you know me. It's unfortunate that I am not part of this party, but you are part of the party. Your uncle is in a better place, and he has a lucrative job, and you are working and you are paid. You are bluffing. So I look at myself, what's wrong with me? What's the problem? So that inequality in terms of accessing the job market, it also frustrates these young guys, and it leads them to these things. On the cultural side, how people look at you and even the families, broken homes, broken families. And the moment you start taking this thing, they ostracize you. So what you do, you resort to say, let me just continue doing this, I don't care. So these are the three dimensions creating the problems. And until we identify these problems, the fight against kush will not be properly addressed. If you go to a medical doctor, you have a headache, and you explain to the doctor that you are experiencing problem with your stomach, they will give you medicine for your stomach. Your headache will never cease. So you have to give the appropriate problem you have, and then they can prescribe solution or medicine to it. And so if we want to fight against this drug, we have to remove, even though the problem itself is political, but the fight against kush should not be political. So you see how politics is playing two different approach in this whole system. One, it is political as a cause, as a problem. But the fight, the solution to it should not be seen from a political lens. If it is seen from political lens, then we are missing the point. Then it creates more problem. And we have seen it, I had from my colleagues even the radio there that yesterday your radio department hosted APC and SLBC members of parliament, and they were casting blame. It is you, it is during this time and whatsoever. This is not the time. The political party should accept responsibility that they created this problem. We all know that APC, SLBC, they are good in that. So what they should be telling the public now is, let us own up and find a solution to this problem. But not to be saying, if you're doing APC, if you're doing the SLBC, that's not the case. Let them own up that we have a responsibility to the people of this country. We are part of the problem, and we should be part of the solution. And in that solution, they should establish some levels of commitment that we will desist using that vacuum of youth, supporting them with this type of substance to cause havoc. Once that is done, and I need to understand that they have engaged the Intelligence Council. Once that is done, the Intelligence Council can play a role. And so from the human rights perspective, the kush is so dangerous that it affects the lives and livelihoods of citizens, and it destroys home. It also destroys parents. That I could remember when I was at Epic Radio yesterday, a parent, Rebecca from Bo, was crying. She has her own son, who is I think is a university student. This boy started taking drugs. So imagine the pain that mother will suffer, and a single parent for that matter. And these are the cries that these politicians should listen and forget and just ignore the issue of blaming themselves. Let them acknowledge that we are the causes of this issue, and let us fix it if they really love this country.
Okay, so Mr. Bali, the Human Rights Defenders Network has been a network that has been raising awareness, especially when there is a area of a violation of human rights and all. So what has been your own level of intervention with regards advocating for especially these young people that are users of kush?
We are more concerned about human rights education, and that's part of what I'm doing here. When you called me, I was not supposed to even come today, but today is the African Human Rights Day, 21st October. And so I did not make a statement, so I'm using this platform to be here. I woke up this morning at 5:30 and I left my house at 6 o'clock just to come here to raise this issue. So one of our responsibility is to ensure that we create awareness on the impacts and effect of it, and secondly, to protect those that are defending the rights of these drug users. And I could remember yesterday I was at Epic Radio when one gentleman said that he went to the IG with a letter requesting them that they wanted to do a 1,000-man march in Freetown on the 24th of October. And he was denied that opportunity with threats. And that man is a survivor. And I'm also using this opportunity to condemn the action of the IG, that in no certain time that he has the right to threaten a young man that even when he has abolished or he has terminated his ambition to mount up what we refer to as a 1,000-man march, but to the extent that to threaten him if he published that letter on news media, he will know what the outcome of it. That is a direct threat to the work of human rights defender. And that young man has an organization. He is a survivor of this kush. And these are the people the security personnel should use to fight the issue of drugs. So if you are not threatening that particular institution, you are saying, they are suggesting to me by their own conduct or by the statement of the IG, it suggests to me that the police are aiding and abetting the use and the sales of this drug, drug substance, and which is dangerous. And I think they are not sending a very good signal. The other thing I think we are also raising is to encourage Parliament to step up their action. I could remember when, well, all of us know, when the Ebola, President Kuruma at that time declared Ebola as health emergency. We know the resources that they put supporting the Ministry of Health. Corona came back in this country. President Biyo made a pronouncement. They supported the Ministry of Health. For God's sake, why is the government reluctant to support the fight against Kush when it has been pronounced as an health emergency? Why? That question is not for me to answer. But that tells you that they are violating the rights of citizens by simple omission or negligence by the government to commit resources to fight against it. It is a violation of the rights of citizens, and particularly the youth.
Okay, so continue to stay with us. Mr. Kuka, you've listened to what Mr. Bani has said. You know, from Mr. Bani made mention saying that, you know, this thing is both political, you know, both social and both economical. As people who are in this health, this mental health, this thing that has to do with mental health, you know, I'm still asking the question, you know, have you done research? What has been, based on that studies that you've done, what has been your advocacy indeed? Because this whole thing about Kush, even us as journalists, when we go to these young people, these are colleagues, they tell us usually that is to ease the stress. Because some say they do not have jobs. Some will tell you that I'm a university graduate, but I do not have a job. So what has been your total intervention when you talk about this mental health issue itself?
It's a good question. Well, from the coalition point of view is, over the years, we have been advocating, not only advocating for a policy change, but we have been visiting these people. In fact, last Saturday, we gathered about 250 youth at the local community, Sima Town to be specific. There's a field down there. We gathered about 250 of them. You know, we feed them. Then we also get a psychosocial, you know, and psycho-education talk. Then we also get a one-on-one discussion with them for them to tell us their stories. Because when you watch, the community found at this, that most times the approach, you know, of some of the people towards these peoples, you know, are not good. Because one, they fail to know that addiction is a sickness. You know, you craving for this particular thing. And for you to reach to that point, for you to become an addict, you know, it starts somewhere. Probably stress factors, probably lack of employment, probably peer pressure influences, probably relationship stress and all of those things. I'm not trying to justify their action. Of course, what they are doing is bad. But we need to investigate, just like you said, for go into the root causes. And when you start with some of those people, them sharing their stories to you, honestly, you know, it's so pathetic and empathic for them. You see, I remember one of them, you know, was a graduate from one of the best universities in this country. You know, when get a job in Como, you know, then a girlfriend lead him, you know, to this school stuff, lost his job, then everything in his life go back to zero. That's a pathetic stories. You understand? But from the coalition point of view, we normally get different sessions with them at different community for let them know the danger behind this drug. Let them know how it destroys their potential. Not only them, but the nation as a whole. In the next 30, 40 years from now, you know, some of us won't have the energy. And those people who are now addicts, we consider them to be the future leaders. What will be the outcome for Sierra Leone as a nation? I think the government need to think about that. Where are we going in the next 20, the next 30 years? So that is why we are advocating for them to come out with a very strong policies and also invest money into this thing, so that, you know, the information will reach the right people and people will be benefit from it in terms of them recoveries and all of that.
Okay, Mr. Barney, you made mention when we started the conversation, you made mention of a lot of reasons why this set of people are involved in the Kush drug and sincerity from both parties. So let us know from the human rights point of view, what do you think should be done by the government and other stakeholders that are in this fight against Kush to way forward?
In the first place, the Sierra Leone police should be sincere enough to address the issue of Kush. Anyway, before I really go into the answer, let me just give you a quick scenario. Few years back, during the coronavirus, I went with our board chairman to the Kiama Road Hospital, the satellite hospital, for him to be vaccinated. It was just less than 15 minutes. I parked my car along that route. Broad daylight, that was around between 12:30 to 1. We entered that place. He got the vaccine. We came back. When I entered the car, I wanted to give him a document. I passed my hand behind the seats. My bag was not there. It was stolen. And my passports, my laptop, everything was in that bag. They went with it. So I went to the police to make a report. And they said I should go to Central Police Station. So at that time, the LUC at the Central Police Station started giving me ghettos where these bad boys are. So in other words, they know very well where these bad people are. So the police know exactly where these things are sold, but they are refusing deliberately to reach out to those communities because they may be getting something different. So in the first place, the security sector, the Sierra Leone police, need to step up. And it was yesterday that one of the survivors, we are on Epic Radio, he said a police officer sold kush to him. It tells you the extent to which police officers are involved. So you cannot be the referee at the same time a player. So you cannot do the job properly. So in the first place, for us to fight it, the Sierra Leone police should be sincere in their fight and to ensure that they enforce the law. And mind you, my brother, the anti-drug acts that we have, that's one of the stringent acts we have in this country. When you are in breach, it has the toughest sanctions in this country. But we have never had a situation where police have arrested a drug dealer. What we are seeing in court are the end users. Okay. So to us, they are not doing their job properly. They need to step up. And the other thing that I mentioned is the government to allocate resources, because when you declare something as an emergency, you have to commit resources. So once they commit resources, we know the agency that is in charge of drug issue will do their job. And we also need to do our own job, we as community members. Let us don't aid and abet, because that man selling the drug is my uncle. So I have to cover him up because I'm also deriving. The biggest problem, the threat we are having is because we are too selfish. Because I'm gaining, I don't care about what happened with the next person. And so we need to move away from that system to consider the next person. Let me see you. I don't see you when I look at you. I see myself in you. Okay. If we start doing that, then we will fight the issue of Kush.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Kenneth Justy Coker, the co-chair for Events Committee of the Mental Health Coalition, and also Alfonso Bani. He's the executive secretary for the Human Rights Defenders Network, as they have been taking us through the Kush drug in the country and what should be done to eradicate Kush in Sierra Leone. Well, from there we take a healthy part today, and today we take a look at the difference between an heart attack and a panic attack. Chest pain, a raising heart, and sweating could signal a heart attack. Of course, it could be a sign of a less than a life-threatening panic attack. How can you tell the difference? Let's watch and learn from a cardiologist.
A heart attack is a medical emergency. A panic attack is not. What are kind of the key signs to tell them apart?
Both people with panic attacks and people with heart attacks have some chest discomfort or chest pain, and you might have a sensation of your heart racing or pounding. Both situations can cause you to feel sweaty and kind of dizzy or unwell. In both situations, you have a feeling of impending doom. To be perfectly honest, a panic attack is actually even more dramatic in terms of the way somebody feels. Most people who are having heart attacks are expecting to feel like one might feel in a panic attack. Really dramatic pain, terrible pain, really just feeling awful, when in actuality, it's just a little bit of pressure. It's usually a discomfort. It can be a pressure-like or a squeezing or a sensation like something is grabbing you or pressing on you or sitting on you. And then on the other hand, with a panic attack, it might be a really sharp, intense, severe pain.
I believe you've learned a lot from that video when you talk about the difference between heart attack and panic attack. When we continue the program, we go over to another issue where Gold Sierra Leone is adopting a system-based approach to development by integrating health, water, sanitation and hygiene, wash, blue economy and livelihood sectors. This holistic strategy ensures that interventions are interconnected, sustainable and responsive to the needs of communities. With funding from Irish Aid and other donors, Gold Sierra Leone has been implementing health system strengthening, social behavior change communication and young people-centered advocacy approach from 2021, building resilient health institutions and communities. Well, for more, we have been joined in the studio by Muhammad Isa, Health Program Coordinator, Gold Sierra Leone. Good morning and welcome to the program, Gold Sierra Leone.
Good morning. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I'm honored to be on the SLBC. Good morning.
So, Mr. Isa, this system-based approach by integrating health, water, sanitation and hygiene, blue economy and livelihood sectors. This is a bit confusing. I want you to dissect it or break it down a little bit for people to understand. How are you going to do it?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, that's a very good question. Me as the health coordinator, we believe if you need to make big impact, we have to work on the system. Sometime back, before we developed this intervention, we looked, goal is in Sierra Leone in 1999, and from our experience, implementation, we learn also. Usually when we implement, we learn. So we thought to have big impact, the issues we are addressing at health is beyond health. So to make big impact, we need to have WASH. When you talk about health, for example, you say I need infection prevention and control. Health facility without WASH, you cannot do that. And then if we are providing health service, talking to people, giving the drugs, giving everything, but if the nutrition status is not okay, that means you're not going to make a change. Same thing goes to the financial inclusion. We realize you can just provide health service, but people, they need to have access to finance. So that is how we thought, no, that is the best way we do this integrated interventions to make a bigger impact.
Okay, so what has been your level of impact in these different sectors, and where are your targeted communities since its inception in 2021?
Okay, because I'm the health coordinator, my focus will be on the health intervention, because we are working other districts also. 2021 is the time we started this Irish Aid intervention, but before that we have been working. So mainly we are working in the Western area, here Freetown, Kenema, Cambia and Bombay. The other interventions on blue economy and wash also including Mayamba and Kono.
So when you talk, you are the health coordinator, focus on the health. What's really, because health is it's a very broad term, it's a very broad sector. what aspect of health is GOAL really working on?
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. On health, we have a focus on 4 areas. Number 1, health system. As I said, started earlier, talk about system. So we mapped the system, and then we look at the chains where it is weakness. That's what where it is. So health system strengthening. The other area is social behavior change and communication. We call it SLBC. Providing service is not enough. You need to create demand. You need to let the community know what you are doing. So that's why we have this social behavior change, communication. And then we are working with donors, with government. So we are getting money. So we need to be accountable for that. Those providing service also, they need to feel accountable. For that reason also, we are working on health accountability and advocacy. And then the 4th area is the emergency. We are doing the development intervention, but we know what happens every day. There are extreme events happen. So for that reason also work on the emergency area.
Emergency.
Yes.
Okay. I want to take a cue from that emergency. When you say emergency, I'm some kind of confused as to what do you mean. You are working on emergency. What do you mean?
Okay. For emergency, I look at it from the health perspective, but as I stated earlier, when you do only health, that means you have not solved the problem. So it depends on the needs. So as we speak now, we have 2 bigger institutions, government institutions. We are really collaborate. So we have a partnership with the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA. So the main purpose of that partnership is to build their capacity, work more on early warning and mitigation. So we have different type of disasters happens, including the flood every year we have. The other area is the health, that's the direct health, where we work with the National Public Health Agency, NPHA. Before the establishment of the agency, we used to work with the Central of Disease Control. We responded to Ebola and then later COVID. So we have that partnership. We have resilient response group. So every week we meet together and they discuss all the public health events. For example, the snake bite, malaria, maternal death, whatever happens, and they develop actions based on that, and that inform our planning. So if I give example for the most recent response, I think the situation of mpox. Just the good news, I think for the last 3 days we didn't have any new case, and I think yesterday no suspect, no new death, no new case. So it tells you we struggled from last January to now, but we are progressing. They're almost putting it under control. So one of the emergency response when we declared the mpox, GOAL is one of the first responders to the situation. So we have to, because most of the cases will be reported in Freetown, so we work together with the National Public Health Agency. We got fund immediately from the start fund from that time. We work together with the National Public Health Agency, CARE, and World Vision, where we responded to that, immediately providing IPC material, and started engaging the community, training the health workers on how to deal with it.
So how impactful has these interventions been for your targeted communities? Because I'm quite sure you'll be getting feedbacks from these communities that you work in.
I think if I start with the emergency, I think the relative tells you they actually, the National Public Health Agency, they have very good chart. They track how the cases gone from the 1 case, 2 case. We reach the peak around May, June, and then the cases start going down. So as I said earlier this morning, we don't have cases for the last 3 days. For other interventions, I guess the question is for the general GOAL interventions. We work different level at the community, at the health facility level, at the districts, at the national levels.
So Mr. Issa, you've talked about these good interventions and how your intervention has helped the country when you talk about the mpox. You are working on emergency. There is this emergency about drug. Drug is an health emergency, the drug abuse. And you just had the two gentlemen here whilst they were talking about it in the studio. So in that light, how is Gold perceiving it, and what action is Gold doing currently, or Gold has are there plans to go into that type of emergency also?
Thank you very much. I think the push it is touching everywhere. So as I said, if you are talking about development, push destroy all that development. I think my colleagues from the human rights, they mentioned how it is devastating the communities and the families and the entire system. So we are part of the National Public Health Agency, the Risk Communication Community Engagement. Actually, we've been supporting them, especially on the area of having real-time data. So, like this misinformation, disinformation. So they have system where they collect feedback from the community, like the rumors, what people are talking about. So that is why, and I think my colleagues spoke about the political, the other areas, but I think if we start with awareness, if young people understand what the problem of drug abuse. Last week was the International Adolescent Health Week. We had we celebrated that with the WHO and the Ministry of Health and the National Secretary for Teenage Pregnancy, where they brought the youth themselves and they really spoke. The major challenge for the youth is the drug abuse, and that is directly come from them. So within these interventions, we have different entry points. So whatever we are doing, it also includes these social issues. That's how we contribute to that.
Okay, thank you very much. It's Mohammed Issa, the Health Program Coordinator for Gold Sierra Leone, as he has been taking us through their interventions in area of wash, health, water, sanitation and hygiene, blue economy and livelihood sectors. Well, from there, the Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Cornette Saki, has officially announced the 2025 West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination result, marking another milestone in Sierra Leone's education sector. According to West African Examination Council, a total of 143,985 candidates sat for the examination across the country. However, 13,213 results have been withheld due to suspected examination irregularities, while over 3,500 candidates' results were not released owing to unpaid fees by their respective schools. This year's results showed mixed outcomes. While some schools and candidates achieved remarkable success, overall performance in the English language saw a significant decline. Only 11.77% of candidates obtained a credit or better, while 63% failed the subject, making it one of the poorest performances in recent years. For more, we have the communication specialist at the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Augustine Babi Anthony. Good morning, Anthony. Babi Anthony, welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning, Esther. Good morning, my brother.
Okay, so you heard from my intro and from our assessment, we've seen that the results showed mixed outcomes. So what, from the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, what is your own perception of this year's result?
So the results are, for me, consistent, and for the ministry, we understand that it becomes a roller coaster because that is development in itself. So you read out good statistics about how many of candidates enter for the exams, 140,000, and a huge number of that, 55%, they are girls. Now, and one thing I want to also mention that we had over 35,000 candidates who were absent for the exams. That is alarming, and we are investigating that. And but for candidates who passed the exams with 5 credits, it's over 52%. So that means the result is fairly good if you want to assess it. We have over 47,000 candidates that got 5 credits and above. I am not saying 5 credits English and mathematics. I am saying 5 credits in one sitting, right? So yes, there are issues with English language, but mathematics also did very well. We have over 47% of those candidates that we released the results for. 97,000 candidates we released the results for. 47% of those candidates passed mathematics. So I think the problem or the challenge we have is with English language.
63% of students failed, according to the statistics. So what does this mean for? Because English is a requirement for some subjects in the university. Some of the courses, all courses in the university. What does it mean as we have 63% failure in this first exam?
Well, as a ministry, we want to look at a few things around that. One of the preliminary things we have noticed or realized is the reason these principals didn't upload continuous assessments may be because we are investigating. We have preliminary findings. You know, there are times we were on this radio, this media, telling people that they were supposed to upload their continuous assessment that account for 30% of the total grade. So what happened? Some principals uploaded only the first candidate, the first CAS, the 10%, the entry CAS 1. And they didn't do CAS 2, CAS 3. We came back to this medium and told people that we have suspended them for 6 months without salary. But that did not pay back for the kids' grades. So some of the things we have to also look at. There are other principals who didn't even do CAS 2, CAS 3. What we have done, we have suspended them now as I speak to start November, 1st November, for 1 year without salary. So that is all the things we are talking about. When we come to this meeting, we say go and upload a continuous assessment. These are the things that also affect the kids. So some of these schools, 12 of them, didn't do CAS 2, CAS 3. And that told on the results of the English that we are seeing now. So we have suspended them for 1 year, 12 months without salary. But that is just one. But also, you see, there was a time that the international body conducted an EGMA math and English assessment, and they realized that our kids in class 4, class 3, class 4 in 2015 were not up to the task. They couldn't even read class 1 books. They are in class 4, class 3. They couldn't read class 1 book, meaning they couldn't read and comprehend and understand. And that was an information sending that come sometime, these kids will not be able to perform. And these are the kids that are writing the exam stamp. You see, that is how statistics inform people. As my brother was saying, you have to follow data. In fact, they labeled Sierra Leone in particular as learning poverty in 2015. That we are suffering from learning poverty. That our kids in grade 4 couldn't read grade 1 book. That means it's a problem for Sierra Leone. So 12 years later, they are writing the WASC and they are getting 11% pass rates. So it is not about regime. It is about systemic problem. What have we done as a ministry? Okay, let me give you one more cause. This year, last year we had a lot of seizure of results. 27,000 seizure of results last year. So this year is 13,000. The number dropped considerably. You will have to know why. Last year the concern was around collision. These WhatsApp groups now they form. You could be here and you cooperate with somebody in Kailan. We are all in the same WhatsApp group. There are people outside who work all the paperwork, the answers, and send them to these WhatsApp groups. What happens? You people just copy as long as you're part of the WhatsApp groups, because they get their ways, they get the phones into the exam halls. I don't know how it happens. So what happens? This year, WAEC said, okay, we will introduce a new system, and that cuts across Sierra Leone, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, the Gambia, and of course Nigeria. What happens? They introduce a system called serialization, where the papers, they introduce 5 papers as a pilot phase. Mathematics, biology, English language is part of them. What they said, economics as well. They said, we are going to have papers. The candidate that will sit a particular paper in Freetown will be different from those that will be sitting in Bo. So the question paper here in Freetown is not the same with that of Bo for English, for example. And it's not the same for that of Bo in McKinney. I mean for that of McKinney, candidate in McKinney. So that's how they did across the district. So what happened if you were a part of the WhatsApp group and the answers are already pre-answered for a particular particular expected question paper will not be reflective of those in the various districts. And that just didn't happen in Sierra Leone. It happened in Nigeria. It happens in Ghana. So this is a way of testing to see if the kids are really performing by themselves. So that could also be a reason why the drop in the percentage of passes.
In English.
Okay,
yes.
so Mami, we had about 13,213 results withheld due to examination irregularities, and also 3,500 candidate results were also held due to their schools not paying their respective fees. So what will happen to this set of pupils that will be hoping to go to universities now their results have been
especially those ones whose results were not seized as a result of
exam
irregularities, but as a result of the negligence of their school authorities.
We have not come to the conclusion that it is negligence. So in the arrangement, government pays for government and government affiliated schools at last level. For MPC and Beke is both public and private. So the arrangement of paying for your candidates at private school rests on the shoulders of the school administration. So we have not come to the conclusion that it's negligence, whether they paid or there are some things to be sorted out. But I believe the day they sort it out, they give them the result. Right? It's unfortunate that we cannot account for them now as part of our announcement. But your pay today, they will release your result today, and I think that's the arrangement. For those results that are withheld, maybe some form of malpractices also we are noticed, because the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education made complaints about some irregularities at certain centers, and those complaints were done in writing. Maybe those things were also considered. But as a way forward, as a ministry, we have decided to have a national stakeholders conversation on English, because this is becoming a serious problem.
60%, that is...
it's declining. So we want to solve the problems once and for all.
And now we have this AI English.
Yeah, for short term and long term. So that's what we'll do now. We want to invite stakeholders who really have knowledge in English language, like the Department of Linguistics at Farabi College, Notimagai, Chala University, Unimac, EBK. Bring them on board, but also invite WAEC. We want to have these examiners come. Let's have conversation. Let's see how we look at the examiners report. Year in, year out, our kids are failing in English language. What's the problem? So let's bring the teachers also on board, the school authorities. There are people outside the education institutions that are also knowledgeable in English. Let's come together. So that's what we are going to do now. We are working on that. We are going to have a conference, and we really identify the problems, and of course profile solutions to see how we better English performances across the country.
Okay, so thank you very much. It is Augustine Bami Anthony, the communications specialist, MBSSC. I think today, Esther Bami, he was able to convince me a bit as to the reason for the massive failure of the English language. Because all of the points that he nailed, those points, to me, they were genuine. Even as a teacher, someone who has taught before, those points were genuine. So
he's not on the hot seat today.
So you see, gentlemen and ladies, you people plan really to nail with that.
No, we don't know.
So, Mr. Mohamed Issa, in 30 seconds, what will be your parting shot?
Thank you very much. I think we need to collaborate with the government and partners, and we coordinate together.
Okay, so thank you very much. He is Mohamed Issa from Gol, Sierra Leone, and we are talking to Augustine Bami Anthony. So viewers, this is how we turn the camera to another segment in this Good Morning Sierra Leone, which is the review of the headlines of our local tabloids. Well, we start the ball rolling with the Concord Times newspaper that says Bio pledges stronger climate action as Sierra Leone opens CRET 2025 dialogue. And Marampa Mines support fight against breast cancer. Batilo Sunga formally takes over SLPP's chairmanship. These stories plus more you get in the Concord Times newspaper.
The exclusive newspaper's banner headline states, investigates government. Journalist Melvin Mansaye questions integrity after controversial reassignment of former immigration chief. As Honorable Sidi Mohammed Tunis flashes 2 billion loans, huge boost for SLPP. And against corrupt practices, SEC wants police. These stories and many more you can find on the exclusive newspaper.
The next one I have here is the Pyramid newspaper, and it says China Rights Act gets presidential accent. And Batilo Sunga promises jobs, scholarships, change. Chadi accuses judiciary of withholding public information. These stories plus more you get in the Pyramid newspaper.
Independent Observer's banner headline states, Honorable Sidi Tunis pledges 2 billion to SLPP. Connor celebrates Chief Justice, thanks President Bill for historic appointment. These stories and many more you can find on the Independent Observer newspaper.
And the last one I have here is the A to Z newspaper, and says Health Minister highlights Sierra Leone's healthcare transformation. At 2025 CRET dialogue, President Bill unveils ambitious plans to electrify 500,000 homes by 2030. Hunger resolutions 2758 and one China principle, no room for challenge. These stories plus more you get in the A to Z newspaper.
My final pick is a Premier newspaper, and its banner headline states, Judiciary declares war on drugs with expanded court coverage. Visually impaired student faces daily transport rejection. And ACC hands over second tranche of recovered funds to FCC. These stories and many more you can find on the Premier newspaper. But viewers, we must quickly know that these headlines read out does not reflect the views of the SLBC, but we are merely reviewing them. Well, on that note, that's how we draw the curtains of Good Morning Stallion. I came to you from the Stallion Broadcasting Corporation. Many thanks to our producer, Daphne Zainab Kamara, and I have been Esther Sako.
I have been Emmanuel Samoa, but before we go, let's take the quote again, and it from American leader Martin Luther King Jr. and says, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. So goodbye, Good Morning Salo, returns tomorrow same time. Stay glued to the SLBC.
Have a wonderful day.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties.